Hi, and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy evening to join me. I do appreciate that. Last night I made a video, I promise. I only just didn't post it because I sounded a little angry at Saudi Arabia. Low key, you feel me? So it's good to see you guys again, you know? And in fact, tonight I want to talk to y'all about two entirely worthless things that IMO are just real unneeded, you feel me? And I'd like to talk to y'all about why I think it's unneeded. And so let's start with Copilot. All right, so this is something that's been on my mind. I mean, I don't know if it's just like an age thing or a practical thing, trying to like improve one's own life given the resources and or tools around them, you feel me? And then just inevitably finding that like none of them work. They're all terrible. And in fact, planned obsolescence, was not just a theory proposed by, oh, I forget the woman's name. Brilliant lady. But it is, in fact, a reality that transcends, consumerism. It's blended its way on down into absolutely all of the needed things in day to day. And I'll give you an example, and I just kind of talked about that, but in case you didn't know about Copilot, you feel me? I mean, if we could all only be doing as well as the CEO of Microsoft, again, just taking a very good and reputable product and turning it into complete shit, for lack of better words. I mean, if y'all haven't tried Copilot, it's because the only people using Copilot are on the commercials, and I bet they're not actually using it either, because that shit sounds like some voice prompts. Not to mention the idea that, like, you can't just already ask another LLM the same goddamn questions. The only difference is that Microsoft operating systems, are so much more intuitive and, dare I say, leasing products that you will never own. That's sort of their gimmick now, right? And I mean, Microsoft, Windows 11 is a terrible product. It's got to be one of the worst products that has ever been created. And I have just I tested it out on my cell phone, which isn't exactly, I guess, the best way to do that. But seeing as though most of the known, United States population uses their phone to receive the internet, and in fact, not everyone is jumping on and off of desktops, I mean, desktops are in fact a very useful thing that not many people own, because again, we rely on our phones and so forth. And so, I mean, if you can't even make an operating system that integrates well within the phone that we all have, it's kind of an uphill battle at best from there, and it can be argued that Microsoft is a good product for large businesses and stuff. And again, that's fine, let all the corporate people supply all the other corporate people with whatever their corporate needs are. God, I'm being very forgiving this evening. I'm just saying that Copilot sucks. You feel me? And like, if I'm the first person to tell you that, then, don't blame me when you hop on, some desktop or laptop or tablet and you find out that Microsoft Office, Microsoft 11 is like, seriously, it's a really bad product. Like, it really makes you not want to have anything at all to do with Microsoft. And again, that's coming from somebody who was a huge fan of Microsoft for what it's worth, I mean, is it worth anything to be a huge fan of something like a consumer is, I think that it is, just because you grow up with a lot of this stuff, you go to school and you get used to a lot of ways that these programs are running, and then you turn into an adult and you try to use them in any functional kind of a way, and it's just sort of like not gonna happen, and it's sort of like, well, what was all that about? You feel me? Like, why did I learn all that stuff about computers, and why am I still being, forced to pay for every damn thing? You feel me? Like, everything. And whether that's, them trying to sell you more storage space in your email, or forcing you in Copilot to store your shit in the cloud. You feel me? When, like, you should still be able to download all of that pretty seamlessly. And, it could be argued, too, that, like, it should be a hell of a lot user friendly, right? Just because, again, we've been working on some of these products for going on 4 decades, and they just seem to get worse. Now, I want to also talk tonight about why I am not a fan of the pop-in. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm getting a little bit older, you feel me? And I am just tired of some things in life. Forgive a guy, you feel me? I have been pretty open about staying single and living this bachelor sort of a life, but I gotta tell you guys that I am not a huge fan of the poppin'. Ladies, how many times have I ever popped in on a lady? I ask myself this question, and then I remind myself that, in fact, that has been 0 times. There has been 0 times in my life where I have ever attempted to reconnect, like with an ex, you feel me, like in any sort of meaningful way, or in any sort of like, I'm not the dude, and yeah, I know where some ladies live, I've had the pleasure of hanging out with some women, it's just like, I wouldn't ever dream of just like popping in on them. And for 2 equally just as selfish reasons, right? 1, I don't want like said random woman to just be all with another dude, you feel me? When I'm popping in, right? And then also, I'm a non-confrontational guy, you feel me? And I don't ever want to fight with some dude over some lady, this is why I've maintained the very idea that I'm not the guy to have an affairs with, you know what I mean? Ask a handful of married women out there, I really have said no, like counter to what you may or may not think about me, right? Like, I do have my own boundaries, and what's interesting is that the handful of women that I've met whom are married and wish to do the chicky on the side, again, like, it's not that I wasn't physically, about that idea. It's just, even my dumbass knows, going back to those 2 points, it's just sort of like, okay, so women are a little bit more brazen, right, in their actions, they'll sort of just like pop in or whatever. And ask any stupid straight guy, you feel me? That's how I identify, it's who I am. I'm just saying, can't speak for nobody else, I'm just saying that, like, you'd have to be a fool to not let a woman into your house that's just popped in, just randomly. But I say that I am not a fan of it now, just because, like, it's awkward, you feel me? Like, and that's just what it is. It's sort of like you have, one night stands or whatever, and you hook up and everything's cool, you know what I mean? And then, like, if there's nothing more, then there's just nothing more. And that sucks, because, like, you want everyone to do good, and you want the best for other people and stuff. But, like, I'm just saying, if you're out there and you're thinking about randomly popping in on somebody just to kind of surprise them or whatever, depending on what your intentions are, and mind you, that, like, you may not be welcome, you feel me? And that's the other thing, I guess. So there's 3 reasons, amongst the other 2, getting my ass kicked and just the general confrontation and or fear of fighting another man at the woman's house and I'm hooking up with, you feel me? It's just sort of like, I wouldn't do that just because, like, what if they didn't want it, you feel me? Like, I'm assuming that we're exes for a reason, and that's what I'm saying. So, like, my basic ass is still like, okay, well, like, what reason on earth would we have, to lay that foundation on, you feel me, to, like, still kick it, and I don't ever really find that many examples, and it's just sort of like, all right, this is tough, but this is how breakups work, whether or not it's just one night or, years of your life with the same woman sleeping right next to them, it doesn't matter, you feel me? Because, like, they're not there anymore. And yeah, it's just, pop-ins are something that I'm not a fan of, and that I just think all of us need to think more thoroughly about, you feel me? Like, we live in an age where cell phones are just, right at our ass side, and it just doesn't take that long to shoot a text, or, God forbid, even make a phone call. Like, that's pretty efficient, it's a pretty efficient way to talk to people, I'm just saying, there are a number of different ways to reach out to somebody that you haven't talked to in a while without having to, like, straight up, pop in on their ass, and that's all I'm saying. All right, and okay, hey guys, I really appreciate y'all watching my videos. Obviously, you feel me, there had been a recent instance, and it's just, it's like, this has happened before, right? There's been many documented instances right on this channel where my shameless, promiscuous, arguably S-word of a self has, publicly talked about my forays into the bachelor world. You feel me? Like one night stands, whatever, hooking up, whatever. Like, it's just, whatever. But it's just sort of like the pop-ins are I'm not, again, and am I a bad person for feeling that way? I don't think so. Again, I don't think so. Just because, like, I put myself in other people's shoes, you feel me? Or like, I'm like, I've really, like, I'm a lazy dude, you feel me? And like, again, there is just, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, it's safe to say, all of my ex-girlfriends that watch this show, that, like, you'll never see me at your front doorstep, you feel me? Just randomly popping in, and that's just sort of like, because that's just not my game, baby. You feel me? Anyways, we already talked about that, and, we had talked about Copilot tonight. Is that something we had talked about? Copilot sucks. You feel me? Like, I don't need to be in character to say that. Copilot sucks, and Microsoft sucks, and, it's unfortunate just because I was talking to my roommate the other night. I don't know anything about anything so far as it concerns operating systems, right? So I guess I'm going to have to learn something because I don't want to ever use Windows again. And I don't ever want to download a Microsoft product again, you feel me? Or like buy one. God, it's just, they suck. And I'm tired of supporting tech companies that suck, you feel me? Like, we're in the middle of one of the biggest, money laundering, instances in modern economic history, right? With the bubble of artificial intelligence and so forth. I mean, you guys got to understand by now that it's a scam, right? And that it is in fact a bubble, right? And that, bubbles do this thing where they pop. And, I don't make up the rules of physics. I'm just saying, when that shit happens, typically things aren't good, I mean, I guess there could be examples of bubbles that are good and filled of good stuff or full of, I don't know. I'm just saying that, like, this is a real problem. And my fear is that it is going to be around 2028 when we start to really see some cracks in a lot of this neo-fascist American policy, right? And it's just something that I guess we should all talk about before, 2 years goes by and they all announce that they've all been bought out and Nvidia has sold all of their rights and everybody's just all one big happy-ass big company, just sort of like, all while they have lost and will continue to lose hundreds of billions of dollars, right? Hundreds of billions of dollars, again, like, I'm not about money, you feel me? I just know that you need it to do stuff, and I know that politicians are some pretty greedy SOBs, you feel me? Whether it be a Democrat or a Republican, let me remind you I am a socialist, and it's just interesting because while the world's on fire, and just dumb people in their 30s are in their rooms talking to themselves about the world finance problems, it's just sort of like, it impacts all of us, you feel me? When those guys lose all their money, or when they obtain all that money and spend it on themselves, and then in years later say that they don't any longer have it, those are problems. Those are fundamentally what I'd like to call crimes, financial crimes, and not a huge fan of criminal enterprise, I am, after all, a bleeding nationalist, and I love this country, so one might make the argument that I, in fact, do support a criminal enterprise, but hey, it's all good, I mean, it is what it is, you feel me? And I just trying to smack a socialist label on this bitch so that all of us can have more equal access and a better life, you feel me? So that no matter what, kinds of bubbles other people choose to create, it doesn't come back down and affect you feel me? Because again, as it is right now, all of these things will very much affect us. The continued dismantling of operating systems and pay gates and paywalls, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just literally ass backwards. And again, you see things like that everywhere. It's not just me complaining about this stuff now. I mean, I'm sure if you've not run into this problem yet, then, you're not on your phone enough, and I applaud you. But in case you're ever on your phone for longer than 10 minutes in any given day, or you're out on the internet, searching or surfing that place, it's just can't be avoided. Even if you're running, like, and that's the thing too, is if you're running old programs or old software now, they're like starting to crack down on that as well. Like, there's no longer any updates, and moreover, they're completely taking and removing entire open source code versions of writing programs. I just couldn't make this stuff up, you feel me? But as these guys rob us while our backs are turned, it's all right. We'll continue to call them out, because I guess that's all we can do right now, you feel me? Copilot sucks, Microsoft is a scam, and Windows 11 is probably the beginning of the end for Microsoft, you feel me? Again, I think they're going to be around forever in the industrial and commercial areas of life, but I strongly feel like their care for wanting to do anything, other than for those institutions is not just lacking, it's non-existent. And I guess, I don't know, I think y'all find that out for yourselves. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about tonight. Copilot sucks, and don't pop in on people, you feel me? Like, I just, I don't know, I do my best to, stay on my lane, you feel me? And there's been times in my life, I've made mistakes, you feel me? I'm not a perfect guy. I've definitely veered into other lanes, sometimes oncoming traffic in certain instances. I've been a dumbass, you feel me? But like, as I get older, and over the last few years, and since I've managed to happily and fortunately survive, one of the worst physical times in my life, ergo the whole snow addiction or whatever, you feel me? It's just, I'm at a different place, I'm at a different place, I'm in a different stage in life, and I just, the thing is too, is like, I don't know when and or where people, like, I'm a selfish guy, you feel me? I've said this before, and I've heard other things in my life, my personal life, that sometimes counter that sometimes enforce that, reinforce that. It's just, I just strongly feel, you feel me, that like, no one cares about anybody, you feel me? Like, no one puts a damn thought into anything, like, and that's just the other thing, is like, these rules are, like, said and or made until, better stuff comes along, you feel me? And that's the way it should work, right? Like, that's the way it should work, you know what I mean? But like, people be coming in and out of your life on some shit, you feel me? Like, they'll be coming at you at the worst time in their life. They'll be coming at you, they'll stay far away from you when they're living their best lives, you know what I mean? They're just sort of like, what's up with that shit? Like, you feel me? Like, can't you come over to my crib and like bring me some food? You know what I mean? And again, you may think that this is like some self-loathing just type of way, some stuff that I'm saying, but like, it's not, you feel me? And I say that because I say I'm a selfish guy, but I'm a pretty thoughtful dude too, you feel me? Like, as if like I did go over to somebody's house or whatever, like for any reason whatsoever, like I'd like to bring something, like I know I don't have to, and that the social cues here don't always line up, but just like, Jesus, think about somebody other than your goddamn self for just a moment, you know what I mean? And I say this, because I don't see that, at least I've not seen it recently, and that's cool. It's all good. I'm just saying that, like, if you're gonna be doing pop-ins or whatever, like, be thoughtful, like, don't come to somebody's house like when you're doing the worst in life, you feel me? Like, that's overrated, and unneeded and unwarranted. Come over to people's houses and revisit them and say what's up when you're doing good, you feel me? Like, is that a foreign concept to people, to like pop in on people when they're doing good in life and they have good things and good, like, vibes, you feel me, for all lack of better words? I'm just saying that, like, this might be or sound like some trauma dumping, but if you've been there, YK. And that's where I'll leave you guys, alright? I hope that you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you for watching my show. Sorry about last night. The video was made, just not posted. It was getting posted, and then I decided to delete it because I was kind of angry at Saudi Arabia last night. Anyways, we'll talk about that, I'm sure, sooner than later. I hope that you guys have a really good night, alright? Bye.